In this episode, I traveled to Portland, Oregon to work with Juliana, a bartender who plays pool in her spare time. Juliana will be doing the full 14 days of training at almost 10 hours per day. And although she was quite sore when it was all said and done, Juliana survived the 14 days of intensive training and even went on to win a Masters tournament a couple weeks later. And as I go around the country, what I tell people is that pool instruction isn't going to make you a better player, and it doesn't matter who your instructor is. But when you combine pool instruction with serious training, then you start to see a jump in your game. But most players who receive pool instruction never follow that up with any sort of serious training, which is why they continue to struggle with their game. And this is why I created the 14 Days program, is to introduce players to this type of intensive training. But most people don't realize how grueling the 14 days training really is. In order to succeed in pool, you have to treat pool as a sport, so it requires the type of training any sport would demand if you want to reach a higher level. Which leads us to Ray, who flew into Las Vegas for her training. She only received 3 days of training, but in those 3 days, we managed to put in over 30 hours on the table. After the first day, Ray was pretty beat up from all the training, and by the second day, she was getting pretty tired and even thought about quitting at one point. But Ray is a very determined person who persevered, and by the end of the third day she had a breakthrough and was able to run several patterns with good cue ball control. Also, we're going to see a rare video that very few people have seen. It stars John Candy as Minnesota Fats and Kevin Kline as Fast Eddie.
Oh, Fats, why don't you just join a ladies' club? That was the worst shot I've ever had.
It was part of a show back in the 80s that was canceled after only 9 episodes. But first, we're going to check in with Juliana. We began training in the small town of Beaver Creek, Oregon.
My name is Juliana. I live in Eugene, Oregon, and I have been playing pool for about 5 years on and off, other than early childhood stuff. So I first was introduced to pool by my dad. We would take us to the cue ball on Saturdays to just shoot some pool, and me as a little kid, I thought he was amazing. You know, he was really good. But I didn't really see real pool until I moved to Eugene as an adult. And I was broke, like most people there at the time. And there was a pool hall down the road that had free pool all day. So I bought a stick and decided that's what I was gonna do, just shooting around for fun. And I met a lot of fun people, and I ended up meeting my husband, who is a master pool player. So he was always playing pool, and kind of somewhere in the middle we decided that that's just what we were gonna do. I play BCA mainly. We have one BCA night, and then we just started an APA league. So I do one BCA night and one APA night. We just got back from Las Vegas. I started off really strong, and then I think I just got tired. The 9-ball was really grueling because instead of one race, it was a race to 5 or 4, but it was best 2 out of 3 sets. So I won the first set, then I lost the second set hill, and then I think I literally fell asleep because she just mauled right over me that third set. She played really good. I have really progressed a lot from these 5 years that I've been learning and practicing. I feel like in some areas my game has really progressed really high, and then in some areas it hasn't. I noticed myself having a lot of trouble shots and things that I feel like I could work on. I really am excited about this because it helps me actually take the time, do the drills, and get all the parts that I feel that my game is lacking to get up there with the rest of my game.
Juliana is primarily a bar table player, so we'll be doing the majority of training on a diamond 7-footer. But for the first 3 days, we'll be training on a 9-footer. So we had Juliana play a few games of ghost pool to get an idea of what she needed to work on. We need to know Juliana's true skill level, which is why we're starting her on a 9-footer. Any flaws in a player's game are usually magnified on a big table. If a player doesn't have good speed control or if they're not playing correct angles, they're usually not going to get very far playing on a big table, as opposed to playing on a bar table where it's much easier to shoot your way back into position. And when participants play ghost pool, it's not so much how many balls they pocket, but how they use angles in moving the cue ball around the table. So one thing I noticed right away is that Juliana is pretty good at pocketing balls, but she tends to make the game a little tougher than it needs to be by the way she plays her patterns.
So in the beginning, we started with the ghost play, which was terrifying. All of a sudden there's cameras watching you play and you're not quite sure, you know you need help already, so it's pretty scary. And from there, Tor got an idea of where I was. So he knew kind of where to start with me and knew how I saw the table already.
So the first thing we did is check her follow through. And like many players, she tends to tighten up near impact with the cue ball, and this leads to a very short follow through. So to correct this, we're going to have her do several hundred stroke drills. And when she does these drills, she'll be concentrating on a slow backstroke, keeping the head still, and following through correctly. The first couple hundred stroke drills, she's going to have to manually force the cue stick beyond her normal range.
And once your tips at the...
Also, we're going to slightly tweak her stance, which is going to give her a bit more clearance when stroking. And once we found the ideal stance, we marked it with tape, so it will be easy for her to repeat over and over. By the second day, Juliana had performed the stroke drill well over 1,000 times. Her follow-through was now much longer and less restricted.
So we just finished 1,152 stroke drills. I am obviously a little sore, but I noticed when I began, my follow-through was very short, and it was amazing just how far I came. It's definitely worth the time. I felt accomplished when I was done. I felt like I achieved something.
Now, when she's actually playing pool, her follow-through won't be nearly as long. The main purpose of the stroke drill is to remove any tightening of the grip at impact. Next, we went through a series of ball pocketing drills using center high, center, and center low. We also worked on tangent line drills. She has to learn how distance, speed, and where you strike the cue ball all affect the sliding cue ball. It's only through repetition that a player can develop a feel for these types of shots. And if we came across a shot that she was really struggling with, we would write it down in her problem shot book so she could work on it that night after I left. By the end of the third day, Juliana was getting a better feel for the sliding cue ball. Becoming more skilled at this type of shot is important as we move on to half-table pattern play. On the fourth and fifth day, we began half-table pattern play. The player has to run the balls in order using no left or right spin. They have to rely on correct angles and good speed control. They can shoot the balls in any pocket, but their cue ball can't cross half-table. And half-table pattern play isn't about running out. It's about learning new shots and easier ways of playing position. And in almost every pattern, we're going to find problem shots that Juliana will have to work on.
So you want to put the cue ball here?
Yeah, I want to give it a little angle, come off the rail, come up. That's a lot of and if I come up short, I'll be in big trouble. 3-ball.
Yeah. And in half-table pattern play, when you do practice it, whatever pockets you pick for the ball, that's the pocket you want to shoot in.
Okay.
That way you don't play bad shape and end up shooting in the corner.
Right.
Yep, the way you hit isn't natural. It's not a natural way to play two, so we'll give you another chance.
So would I use low to come back for this?
Yeah, now you're on the right track. Yeah, it's close to the rail, so if you were here, come pretty much over here. You start hitting lower on the cue ball, you don't want to just drift here. You want to pick a spot over here.
Okay. Oh, I want to come off the rail first.
Yeah, always come off the rail.
Okay. I know I want to be
The ideal angle is. Actually, the ideal angle is over here.
over here.
And these you can just roll anything you want to do.
Right.
So now pick your spot on the side, right? And remember, the angle coming toward it is going to be the same angle coming out.
One of the most important shots that all players have to become skilled at is being able to hit a target on a rail. So whenever Juliana has to go off a rail for a position, she has to let me know exactly where on the rail she's going to hit. I'm trying to force Juliana to be much more precise with her cue ball control. And there are no shortcuts to getting good at these types of shots. It's only through repetition that a player can develop a feel for them.
So where do you want to end up?
I want to end up like right here-ish.
To shoot it in the
Side, or I can shoot it in the corner. Okay, let's single track right now. Yeah, I could go either way, the side or the corner. Either way, I feel like I'd be drawing back on it.
Yeah, I'll show you.
If I did it that way.
I'll show you a way to do it. If you were to put it here and come this way,
Oh, and come up towards it.
now all I have to do is just cut it in and your shape will be on that.
Oh, that's a lot more than what it would be. There it goes.
By the end of the 5th day, we discovered numerous shots that Juliana struggled with. And when we came across these shots, we would sticker them up and she would shoot them over and over again until the shots became easier. And along the way, Juliana learned new ways of stretching across the table for shots. Learning these types of stances is important if a player wants to reach a higher level in pool.
So there's so many different stances. I didn't realize I was lifting the wrong leg to stretch for balls this whole time. So I figured out how to stretch all over the table and be able to reach balls I never thought I could before. I think in this whole time, once we moved to the 7 foot, I only had to use the bridge once, so that was pretty cool.
By the end of the first week, we began training on the Diamond 7-footer. We're still using center, center high, and center low to move the cue ball around the table.
Okay, for the 6, I want one of those stun shots that literally just come off the rail.
Uh-huh.
And the 7, you just shoot in not much of the ball and come down for the 8. And that's where I'm not sure what to do for the 9, because over here for the 8, I could come around for the 9 side.
Yeah, Usher, you're close. Your cue ball on the 6 is perfect. A little below center, right?
Yeah,
Pop it out.
yeah.
Or if you're going to stretch, you could even minimize your stretch and just let it roll forward like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, you're just going to cut it in thin. Let the cue ball come up here.
Mm-hmm.
This is real simple. You're just going to shoot it in real nice and soft. And the cue ball is just going to go like that.
Okay, that's where I'm complicated.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So bar tables use a lot of corner. That's pretty good. You hit it a little hard, but that's okay. This is still a good shot.
Okay.
Now go ahead and shoot this.
Oh, I came straight back.
That's pretty good right there.
I like that.
Now, depending on how much of the ball you hit, that of course changes your angle.
Right.
If you were to hit a little more of the ball, you would end up over here, but probably short because of your speed. Because once you get more of the ball, it takes away the speed of the cue ball.
Right.
So you did pretty good. So this shot here, now you know, where does the sliding cue ball go? If you were to shoot this in with a sliding cue ball.
Well, it's close to the rail, so
So
it
it's
should
around,
come
so
right back.
it's almost straight back, right?
Yeah.
So now you can stun this
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of low, so by the time it gets here, it has a little bit of low.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going like this, it's going to go like that.
Okay.
Beautiful. Now, this is perfect. You can always tell if you're going to scratch. Always look at your tangent line,
Mm-hmm.
which goes right here toward this point. So that's close to scratching, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the cue ball has roll, it's going to end up on the left side.
By day 8, we started to introduce spin back into Juliana's game.
I was thinking of shooting the 5 down here, coming off the rail. Maybe. Let's say coming off the rail, coming out like this. Shooting the 6 over here to come off for the 7 up that corner.
Oh, nice. Now it's not right perfect where you want to be, but that's okay. Now this is a shot we were working on before, where if you were to roll this in with just above center,
This is a shot.
you'd probably come straight like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you want to be a little bit closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to roll it in with just a little bit of right.
A little bit right.
Yeah. Nice.
I didn't put enough low on it.
That's okay. You might have decelerated.
Okay.
These are the shots that you had to work on a little bit.
Right, I understand
Or you just want to draw them back a little bit. But go ahead and shoot this. Wow, so you figured out the pattern and you ran them up. That's good.
For the next several days, Juliana worked on numerous patterns. She was learning easier ways to move the cue ball around the table, increasing her repertoire of shots, and being more precise with her cue ball control. And one thing I always emphasize to participants is that they need to become their own coach, which means monitoring their game for any problem areas, then writing these shots down to work on later. As we neared the end of the second week of training, Juliana had several problem areas that she needed to work on. And as she continues her journey to become a strong player, she's going to have to continue being proactive in monitoring her game for any weaknesses. And every night after training had ended, Juliana continued to work on her problem areas. It's this sort of discipline that every player needs to have if they want to reach a higher level in pool. In the final 2 or 3 days, Juliana was starting to run more and more patterns. Her shot making and cue ball control had improved dramatically from day 1. And this is all due to the hard work that she put in during the training and later at night.
I never expected to walk out of this 14-day experience being a top player. I expected to have the tools to become a top player. So right now, I am sad to say it is the last day because this has been amazing. I really plan on carrying it out after he's gone. I have the videos if I get held up. I have my problem shot books and pattern play books to keep me on track and to continue to practice at least those 3 or 4 hours every night because our table is all set up and ready to play on.
14 Days would like to congratulate Juliana for being a great participant. She took the training seriously and was always proactive in monitoring her problem shots. If she continues this commitment to serious training, I have no doubt she'll achieve all her goals. In 1984, a show called The News Show debuted on NBC. It was quickly canceled, but one of the episodes featured John Candy as Minnesota Fats and Kevin Kline as Fast Eddie. After a long search, I finally found someone on the internet who had a copy of this episode on videotape. The quality is very poor, but it's still watchable. So here it is in its entirety.
Yeah. Like a church. The Church of the Good Hustler.
You sure you know what you're doing, Eddie?
Look, Charlie, I've been waiting my whole life to walk into this hall. I want my shot at the fat man.
Excuse me. I hear you say you want to shoot pool with Minnesota Fats, friend.
That's right, friend. Where is he?
Fats comes in here every night about 8 o'clock. Not a minute before, not a minute after. 8 o'clock. Tell you.
Would your name be Felsen? Fast Eddie Felsen?
That's right.
I hear you're looking for me.
That's right, Fats.
Do you like to gamble, Eddie? Gamble money on pool games?
Yeah. So you and I play a game of pool, Fats.
All right, Eddie. $100 a game?
They tell me you're a big-time pool player, Fats. How about 200 a game?
I can see why they call you Fast Eddie. Eddie, you speak my kind of language. Sausage, rack 'em up. How do you feel?
Tight, but good. I can take him, Charlie.
You lose, Eddie. It's my break. Wait, I wasn't ready for that. Can I take that again?
No, you hit the ball.
You're right, Eddie. I hit the ball. It's your shot.
Do we have to call him, fat man?
Watch the fat man, will you, Eddie? And no, you don't have to call him. That is, you have to call the 8 ball. That you must call.
Oh.
Well, hey.
This is your hall. When I take you, it's going to be by your rules.
Nice shot, Eddie.
do that.
Again? No. So, shoot from there. It's a long way. I hit him.
Scratched.
Oh, gee. Get something going here, huh, Eddie? Maybe a little old-fashioned banging ball? All righty. Yeah! Hey, one went in! All right. What'd I get?
You're high.
What?
The ones with the stripes.
All right, my favorite ones. Now I'm gonna get this guy right over here. This guy, yeah. Oh, Fats, why don't you just join a ladies' club? That was the worst shot I've ever had.
Thanks a lot.
I beg your pardon?
That's my ball you just sunk. I'm solid.
Well, that's great. Why didn't you tell me?
Hey, we're playing for money.
No, we're not.
Of course we are. $200 a game. Remember?
We didn't shake on that.
We've been playing 16 hours, and now you're saying we're not playing for money?
No, no, no. If you say we're playing for money, we're playing for money. But I know that I never said $200 because I haven't got that kind of money.
Oh, that's just great, Fats. That's just great.
Oh, I got money. I got money. You want to see my money? I got money.
Yeah, I'd like to see your money.
I got money right here. There. Did you think anything, Eddie?
What do you think?
Oh, damn. I'm beat, Eddie. I'm really beat. I got an idea, Eddie.
What?
We clear all the balls off the table except the 8-ball and the cue ball. Whoever sinks it's the winner.
Okay.
Sausage. Clear those balls.
If you don't sink this, let's quit anyway. No good. Too easy. What do you say? Best 2 out of 3?
All right, Eddie, 2 out of 3.
Okay, sausage, rack 'em up.
Not now, Eddie. Are you crazy? I gotta get some sleep.
All right, meet me here in 8 hours.
Make it 12, Eddie. I know me. 12 hours is what I need.
Okay, I'll meet you here at 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon.
All right, Thursday it is. Thursday? Is it Thursday already? Geez, Eddie, I gotta be in Cincinnati on Thursday. I'm playing in a tournament there. It's a round robin. I could be there for months.
Oh, that's okay. I'll be waiting for you.
All right, Eddie. Say, Eddie, you couldn't see your way clear to lending me $50. See, bus fare, hotel, you know, incidentals.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, Eddie. You're a pal.
Don't mention it.
May I just say, you shoot a mean game of pool.
Thanks, Vance.
Anytime, Eddie. Anytime.
I'm Ray Norgard, and I'm ready for the 14 days experience.
Ray is a talented young player from Chicago who has a lot of natural talent. Although Ray is only receiving 3 days of training, in those 3 days we're going to be spending at least 30 hours on the table.
So I started when I was about 6 or 7, when my dad bought a little bar table for our house, and I would just hit balls on there when nobody was around, basically. I didn't pick it up competitively until right before I turned 18. My dad put me on his APA team, and from then on I was hooked. It was basically like another sport for me, so all I wanted to do was get better. As far as my game goes, I feel like I have all the tools and stuff. I just need some direction on where to go with it, and the push, and how to train when I don't have anybody there to watch me.
So I had Ray play a few games of Ghost Pool so I could learn a few things about her game. So right away I see that Ray has a lot of natural ability. If we can get her to improve her pattern play and cue ball control, the game will start to become a little easier for her. Since our time is limited, we're going to start right off on half table pattern play. And many times when I'm doing pattern play with participants, I'll let them shoot the shots the way they normally would. Then I'll show them another way to play a position, and that way they can see for themselves which way is easier. So now when we're doing half table pattern play, before you shoot the one, figure out where you want to make the 3 ball.
Okay.
So you're going to make this here. So where do you need to be on the 2 to make the 3 in the side pocket? So you need to be near the 2 ball pocket line, right?
Yeah.
And you're left-handed?
Yeah.
So you probably don't want to be here, you probably want to be closer to here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and put this down where you want to end up. Okay, now look at the shot again and see if you can figure out an easier way to get over there.
Over here?
Yeah, to get to where your
Well, I
diamond
guess
is.
technically you can play one the rail, but we can't use it in English, right?
No.
So. I still play the one rail though. How do you do it? 'Cause I still play, I think I just play it tight.
Yeah, most players would just put the cue ball here, and they would pick a spot on that side rail. They would probably pick around the third diamond. So you're going to shoot this with high action, and you're just going to bounce it off the third diamond. So you're probably going to end up somewhere around here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is your target. You're going to be hitting right around here on the rail.
I'm going to force Ray to be a lot more precise about her cue ball control, which means if her cue ball is going off a rail, she'll have to let me know what part of the rail the cue ball will strike. And she also has to let me know where the cue ball will end up. This will force Ray to be more aware of her cue ball path.
So where did you hit on the rail here?
Yeah, like right where you were.
There you go. Okay. Can you do that?
Again?
You do that a few times in a row?
Yeah.
And this is real important because as you're playing nine ball, let's say you got two balls, you got to break up here.
Right.
And you got a ball in hand. The easiest way to break them up is this way. That wasn't too bad. A little high up. So what are you thinking about?
Well, am I gonna go, if it's this close, do you have to go into the rail? Or would it be more harm than good to go into the rail and try and come out?
Oh, okay. Where are you trying to get to?
Because I was gonna try and get to,
Trying to get somewhere around here?
yeah. Yeah, so I can just roll off the two.
Yeah, if you don't have to travel very far, you don't have to go off a rail.
Okay.
So for this one, I think you could just slide it over.
Oh, just slide it? Okay.
Yeah, because here, even if you come up short, you still have something to work with.
Okay.
So kind of visualize your little target area. I think that's pretty good. You're shooting over the three ball, but that's still pretty good. It's like that's not center high, that's going to be more center.
Just center?
Yeah, center high might try to push it closer to that four ball.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that was all right. That could have been better. So that's pretty good. You can't beat that.
In the next several hours of day one, we went through numerous half-table patterns. This stage is not just about learning new ways of moving the cue ball around the table, it's also about learning new shots and also fine-tuning the shots she already knows. On day two, we moved on to full table patterns.
Now, do you ever play, like, end rail position? Or do you always play side rail position? If you have an option.
Oh, what do you mean end rail?
Like, if I were to use the two and the end rail and come back. Do you ever do it that way? Or
Oh,
do you
you mean,
always play side rail?
Shoot the two and then come back
Yeah.
this way?
Yeah.
Not if you can help it.
Okay.
And within every pattern, we found issues in Ray's game. For instance, in this pattern, Ray has to shoot the one and come off the side rail. But time after time, she kept hitting different parts of the side rail, and she couldn't understand why this was happening. The problem was that she was shooting the object ball into different parts of the side pocket, which was affecting her cue ball path. So I put a ball on each side of the side pocket to force her to pocket the ball in the center of the pocket. Players who aren't aware of what part of the pocket their object ball is going into may have trouble diagnosing any issues with their cue ball position. In the next pattern, we found two problems in her game. One was a problem shot, and the other had to do with the type of bridge she was using on a shot. And whenever we came across a problem shot like this, I would make the shot a little easier by moving the cue ball closer to the object ball. I would then have Ray keep shooting the shot until she became a little more comfortable with it. Since our time was limited, we had to move on to other shots. So I would just have her write the shot down in her problem shot book so she could work on it later. The next problem we ran into in this pattern was a simple center high shot with the cue ball near the rail. After several attempts, she couldn't pocket the ball, so I moved the cue ball closer to the object ball. Since Ray didn't have a problem pocketing the ball when the cue ball was off the rail, what that told me was that it had something to do with the bridge she was using on the rail. So I showed her a more stable bridge to use, and she was then able to pocket the shot. This is why it's important not to get too flustered when you miss. By doing so, you may lose an opportunity to learn about your game. And this leads to another issue Ray has with her game. On some misses, she has a tendency to get very frustrated with herself.
Ugh, man, this is pissing me off real good.
Since Ray's goal is to become a top player, then every time she's on the table, it should be a learning experience. Especially since she works a full-time job, which puts her in a big disadvantage when competing with players who play for a living. At this stage in her development, winning and losing doesn't matter. All that matters is that she knows what her problem areas are, which means she constantly has to be monitoring her game. So on the final day, Ray worked on not letting the frustration get to her when she missed. Everyone gets frustrated playing pool, but it's how you deal with the frustration that separates the winners and losers. After 2 days of training, Ray was really starting to become sore. The type of repetition that's required in training can really take a toll on a player if they aren't used to it.
I'm pretty exhausted. My whole shoulder is all numb, basically. I gotta keep working it. Icy hot. It's a lifesaver. Okay. Basically, you know, people don't think that it's a physical sport because you're not really running or anything, but you're still leaning over the table, you're still walking around the table, you're exercising, you know, muscles when you go down. For me as a lefty, this is my bridge hand, so all up here is all sore. I mean, and the focus alone, it takes a toll on your mental game, so it makes you just very, very tired, like you just ran a marathon, so.
And as we worked our way through more and more patterns, it was important that I introduce Ray to as many different types of shots as possible.
To go off the rail towards its ocean.
That one you probably have to use spin. Anywhere at this angle, the cue ball comes straight. At this angle, it'll come a little bit like this.
Also, you just
we can try this.
As I explained to all my participants, is that pool isn't about playing perfectly. Not even top players play perfect patterns. But top players have a large repertoire of shots, so when they do get out of line, they know how to get back into line. So we had to expand Ray's knowledge of shots. And it's not that she was unaware of many of these shots, it's that she's never practiced these shots with any sort of precision. Once she can become more consistent with these types of shots, she'll be able to run more tables in both 8-ball and 9-ball. By the end of the third day, Ray had a breakthrough and was able to run several patterns with good cue ball control.
I learned that Tor tamed my wild stroke that I had, which is just all power and no consistency really. So taught me that using the angles, you can basically use half the stroke that you think you would need, and it goes exactly where you need it to go. I'm learning the basics of pattern play to just keep throwing out different patterns and keep working them out until you learn all of the shots, which is about 100,000 million shots. When I go back home, I basically work 5-6 days a week at my job, so very limited time on the pool table. So just make sure that all the time you spend on it, or even a half hour to an hour, you work on your problem shots and your weaknesses, because the only way to make your weaknesses your strengths is to shoot them over and over and over and over again until it's burned into your brain and your muscle memory on how to shoot the balls. And then when you see them come up in a tournament, you're confident about it because you've shot the ball so many times that you already know where it's going to go. You already know how to shoot it. You know what stroke to use. And you have to remember that when you miss, because if you don't put in the time, then you're going to have misses. If you put in the time, eventually it will click and it will work. And then you'll miss less. Your mental game will be better because you'll be less frustrated. But don't get frustrated at all, like me, because it clouds your judgment 110%. And instead of getting mad, see why you missed the ball instead of just getting mad because you don't learn anything from it. And the likeliness that you're going to miss it again is a lot higher than if you analyze why you missed the ball in the first place.
In the 3 days we spent together, Ray learned a lot about her game. She learned about her strengths and weaknesses. She learned that the only way to reach a high level in pool is through serious training. She also learned that how she reacts to her frustration will go a long way in her becoming a better player. 14 Days would like to thank Ray for being a great participant and putting in 30 hours of training in 3 days. She has a lot of natural talent and there's no reason why she can't become a high-level player. But it's how she trains after she leaves here that will determine her future in pool.
At the end of that, you gotta go, thank you, pattern. Because that pattern showed you some of your weaknesses.
Thank you, pattern. For trying my patience.
That pattern helped you recognize a couple things you need to work on.
I'm chopping my arm off. Let's chop it. Oh, hi, cat.